This video, I'm going to show you how to get started with Revit macros. So with a model open inside of Revit, go to the Manage tab and click Macro Manager. You can set this to a keyboard shortcut if you want. I set mine to MC just because if you're writing macros a lot, it's helpful to be able to pull that up without constantly going to the ribbon. So open that up. There's two types of macros that you can write. You can write a application-based macro, which will come up and be available in every model that you have, and then there's also a document level macro which will only be available for certain files. So if you're an admin for your CAD department and say you have macros that you use to support your department, or the guys that are working for you, you might keep some of those macros into your application macros, and if you have macros that you want your whole team to use or that are project specific, maybe they have file paths, you might make that a document level macro. That way everybody on the project can access it. And if it's something that everybody can use all the time, then you might want to think about converting the macro into a ribbon add-in, and I'll make another video down the road that'll show you how to do that. So in this case, we're just going to make a real quick macro in the document level macro. This tab will be whatever the name of your drawing is, so if it says something different on yours, don't worry about it. So under Create, you want to click Module. We're going to create a module. I'm going to call this Hello World. I'm going to use language C#. One of the reasons I like C# for programming in Revit is just because there's a lot of content and help available online. Most of the examples that I've found are in C#, and it's a pretty good language. There's a lot of good programmers that can provide feedback and help and support if you need it that are familiar with C#. So you'll have the Sharp Develop window, which is built into Revit or linked to Revit on your Revit install. It's going to have some generic code in there already for you. You don't need to worry about most of it. And you have a couple of classes here already for the module startup and the module shutdown, and these are just events. Again, you don't really need to worry about it. But right after this curly brace under partial class, this document, click enter once, and we're going to type in public void. This is going to be a void class or method because or structure because it's not returning a value. I'm going to call this hello world, and then open and close parentheses, open one curly brace, and enter. That's just going to create, this is creating the, like I said, the little module that we're going to be coding in. So what we run will be right here. If I click this little build button right now, notice it saves and it builds the project. It says build finished successfully, and if I move this over, now under the module that we created, I have a hello world little macro that I could run. And if I run it right now, it won't do anything, but it didn't fail either. So I'll open that back up. Let's go back to our code here. And for something very simple like this, we're going to start by typing in task dialog. So as I type in task, the class for task dialog pops up automatically in this IntelliSense. So I can hit tab right now to finish that command, type in period, and again this brings up the method from the class the methods from the class that are available to me. So it says show. So I'm going to use show, and before I do anything here, if I hover over show, it'll tell me that there's overloads. If you don't see it, open one parenthesis and notice it's giving me a list of 1 of 4 overloads that I can use. These overloads are instructions for how to use the method. So it's saying 1 of 4, I need to provide a title, which is the data type string, a main instruction, which is a string, any task dialog buttons. So if I want buttons on there, I can use this enumerator right here to pick which buttons I want. And then the default button, which is going to be my task dialog result. And sometimes these are optional, and you'll see that as well. So if I just press the down button, notice it goes to 2 of 4, and it tells me again another overload or another way that I could use this command. So this doesn't have as many commands. It's just the string title and the string main instruction and then the task dialog common buttons. And I can go down to 3, and this is, okay, well, you only need a title and a main instruction. If I go down to the last one, it says, okay, well, if you want to just show a task dialog with nothing, you can. So you could just close the parentheses and that would run without anything in the parentheses. But what we're going to do is we're going to say my first macro. Oh, sorry, that has to be in quotes. This is going to be our title. And comma, and now it's telling me it highlighted the next, or it made the next command in bold. Now I need it as a string or something in quotes, a main instruction. So this is going to be what's in the dialog box, and I'm going to say hello world. I'm going to close the parentheses and use a semicolon. In C#, couple things for those of you who are just beginning in the language. C# is a strongly typed language, which means 2 things to you. A, everything is case sensitive. If I type that same command with all lowercase, like task dialog show, it would not run. It would not recognize a lowercase task dialog the same as uppercase task, uppercase dialog. So it is strongly typed. Case does matter. And also with the syntax, you do need to end every command or every line of code with a semicolon. Now we're going to get into more complex commands that are a little bit longer where you don't see the semicolon after every single line, but for every single command you will need a semicolon. So we'll get into that in later videos as well. So I'm going to click up here, click the build all projects in the current solution. It's building, it says build finished successfully. I'll move this over, and now if I select hello world and run it, I should get hello world, my first macro, hello world. In further videos coming up, I will get into other things that you can do with fabrication parts and other things you can do in Revit that will help you be a little bit more efficient.